Hello and welcome to At the Threshold, a 21-day reflective and journaling series. My name is Katie and today we are at day 8. Now I wanted to start our second week off with talking about kind of the elephant in the room, manifestation. Now I'm guessing you might be familiar with the word of manifestation, talking about manifesting our dreams. And this has become a lot more popular in the last 5, maybe even 10 years, especially because of movies like The Secret. And I can find easily online lots of people who will help you manifest your dreams. At this stage, I just want to say one thing. Now, I don't think that I'm an expert on these things. My goal with Alumah and my goal with this video series in particular is to reflect openly, to share my experiences as best as I know how, in the hopes that they're a benefit to you in your journey, and to also bring in different points of view from multiple spiritual traditions, thought leaders, maybe poets, to help us in our own personal reflections. What I'm going to say about manifestation is I think that there's kernels of truth in a lot of the teachings that you can easily find, but that I also believe that it's less about, in my opinion, attracting just pure outcomes as it is about becoming more aligned with the person we want to be. Now, that doesn't mean that sometimes life just gives us these beautiful synchronistic things when we are in alignment and sort of in what we could kind of call flow of our highest and best, life journey. And 2 of those happened today as I was preparing for this video. I'm not kidding. Within right before I left my car, got into my car, I had something happen, and on the drive here to the office to record this video. 2 things. I'm happy to share them with you in a minute here. And it just reminded me, oh my goodness, that's so beautiful and wonderful when things flow and manifest like they do. But what I do want to share with you is I was reading this book 2 days ago, and I knew today I was going to talk about manifestation. And it was about Carl Jung, who I talked about in other videos, and his interactions and how he learned from the Lakota. And so I did a little bit more research on it. And one thing I uncovered from that reading and then just verifying it is that in Lakota thought, there is a teaching that the universe is a mirror. And that, to me, that analogy really just felt like a perfect analogy for talking about manifestation. Because this mirror, I believe, isn't just simply about, giving us what we ask for. Instead, I believe that concept, at least the way I understood it, of the universe being a mirror, is that it reflects back who we are, how we relate to the world and to others, and how we just in general move through the world. And what I love about this concept is I was already kind of thinking about it with, maybe you've read The Happiness Advantage by Shawn Achor or seen his TED Talk. But there's science around this too. The way we see things changes the way things are. And so when we talk about manifesting our dreams, manifesting our goals, I think, again, I'm going to keep going back to it. It's a reflective journaling series for a reason. I believe the work really is about doing that inner work ourselves. Now, quick side note on these 2 things. I have been trying probably since Thanksgiving, and we're now in late January, to see my dad. It just hasn't worked out. He lives drivable, but different schedules, and he's got things he's juggling. I've been traveling. I haven't been able to see him really for the holidays, and I was gonna maybe do my best to see him next week. Well, I just got to see him today. It was completely unexpected. Now we live an hour and a half, maybe an hour and a half away from each other. I was going to meet my grandmother for lunch, and she's in her 90s. She didn't want to go out today. I live in Minnesota. It's like 0 out. I don't want to go out today, and I'm not 92. So that didn't happen. My uncle decided to have us over, and we did sort of an impromptu lunch. We all came to see my grandma, and it just so happened that my dad decided at the last minute that he had an errand to run at my uncle's house. And I don't think this happens very often, but the gist of it is I got to spend an hour with my dad, and I've been trying really hard to make that happen. And just a couple days ago, I'm like, I'm just going to trust it's going to happen. And without any planning, it did. Okay, you can see the coincidences, so maybe you're not convinced. But then on the drive back, short drive, 10-minute drive between my uncle's house and the office, with Alumah, we're going to release a meditation timer, and it's coming in weeks, not months. Hopefully in sometime next month, I believe, in our next release. And I wanted to find 12 beautiful sounds to help support meditation in the meditation timer. Now, it can be easy to find those sounds, but not so easy if you honor true licensing agreements. And so I've been thinking through how I'm going to do that. I just hung up with my friend like minutes before walking in, and she's going to help me next week because she happens to be a composer, and she's going to help me by composing these songs or using students in her connections to help make this reality for Alumah. I couldn't be more thrilled because, one, these sounds are going to come from a beautiful place, and it's going to remind me of this friendship. She's a friend of mine from childhood. Two, I know that they're also going to be sounds that I will have the blessing to use in Alumah versus just purchasing stock sounds, which I can't do anyways because of the licensing. So I have been struggling with that. How am I going to figure out this Alumah thing for a couple weeks and a couple months with my dad? And they both just talking about manifestation today happened within hours of just right now. So it's a beautiful reminder for me. But that said, how does that happen? I mean, I don't have all of the answers, but I do love this beautiful analogy of the universe being a mirror. And I do believe we can attract what we're hoping for, especially when we're aligned with that feeling. And I also think that sometimes we hope for things that are not in our best interest. And, sometimes the answer to a prayer when it's a no, or when the universe closes doors, we might not understand it, and we might feel like it's rejection, but I believe it's for our own good and for our protection. So I love that manifestation, that concept is so much more widely accepted, but I do feel like there's this nuance of, the universe, God is not a Santa Claus, and thank goodness that's the case, because we need protection from ourselves sometimes. I also think that we have the ability to shift and change our lives when we shift that within ourselves. And when that happens, we can get into this amazing flow. I remember once when I was first working and thinking about manifestation, I was thinking about bluebirds, and I was surrounded by bluebirds, pictures of bluebirds, actual bluebirds, for like a couple weeks. And I was actually walking through the airport, and someone was carrying a cage with a bluebird. I've never seen a bird in an airport since or before. And I don't know how to explain those experiences to you, but I know from experience that manifestation, if we approach it like the universe is a mirror, and instead of focusing on what we want as an outcome, we focus on who we are, the outcomes will take care of themselves. So with that said, I will add a prompt to the Alumah app here shortly, and I hope that today you can just take a moment and reflect on, what that means to you, thinking through if the universe is a mirror, what is it that I want to reflect out into the world so that I can also get that back. So have a wonderful day, and I will see you tomorrow.